Since the advent of advertising, public spaces have been shared by brands and private citizens alike. As society becomes accustomed to traditional forms of advertising, brands look for more and more creative ways to stand out from their competitors. The result is a vicious cycle, where increasingly disruptive advertising is blocked out by increasingly insensitive consumers, generating the need for even more disruptive advertising. But what do we do about this? When you watch American Idol, you can't help but notice the perfectly placed Coke cups next to each judge. Does it bother you? Maybe a little, but Jordan Sparks singing No Air sounds too good for you to care. Anyone who's seen a movie knows you can show up 20 minutes late to miss all the ads and trailers. Does this bother you? Maybe a little, but what do? Eat our popcorn slower. Imagine if you were sitting in your favorite park and you noticed a large ad beside the swings you used to go on when you were a kid. Does this cross the line? Does a brand really have a right to be there? Where should commercial interest end and the right to privacy begin? This is what we're going to discuss today, the commercialization of public spaces. Let us take you on a journey around the world and explore how public spaces are being transformed into a marketer's blank canvas.
Let's take you to our first stop around the globe. Here's a clue to where we are going. That's right, we are in New York City, Times Square. New York City is the home of the Statue of Liberty, and let's not forget about the famous ball drop on New Year's Eve that we watch year after year. It is safe to say that Times Square is a place on almost everyone's bucket list. But did you ever notice the sheer amount of advertisements you were exposed to in an area spanning only a few blocks? Did you know that 26 million people visit Times Square each year? There are also over 230 billboards and signs in Times Square alone. To understand the magnitude of how much companies value this space, a single ad can cost up to $4 million to advertise. All of these ads combined in Times Square equal over 1.5 million impressions each day. Times Square, New York is a glorified example of commercialization of a public space.
From New York City, we take you across the globe. Welcome to downtown Johannesburg. To celebrate the 20th anniversary of democracy and highlight the country's diversity, Coke created a giant rainbow atop its billboard-covered building in Johannesburg, Rainbow Nation. They created this by using recycled water, light refraction science, as well as meteorological data to give the people a chance to discover what is at the end of a rainbow. This was clearly not about selling cans of Coke, but rather about a brand fostering a nation's much-needed desire to celebrate its hard-won success. This not only reflects the possible positive impact of commercialization, but the mindfulness of a company to put consumers' values before company profits. When companies are mindful of consumers' needs, both parties can benefit. As a marketer, this allowed Coke to connect with the population of its consumers directly. As a consumer, a beloved brand recognized the uniqueness of their consumers.
Although Coke's example was extremely successful, it is not the norm. Many companies do not take careful consideration to understand their audience. Let's take a trip back to New York to witness the commercialization of public places gone wrong. To raise awareness of their upcoming season, Mad Men depicted its main character, Don Draper, falling from a building, and this advertisement was placed on several buildings near Ground Zero. 9/11 will always be a very sensitive topic, and as a result, this advertising campaign received a significant amount of criticism because many people were disturbed and hurt by these images. Above and beyond invading privacy, reckless use of commercialization of public spaces has massive negative effects on society, as demonstrated by this example.
This summer in Toronto, Coors launched its search and rescue program, which featured plastic cases that consumers had to find and collect for prizes. One was strapped to a telephone pole in a major Toronto intersection and was mistaken as a bomb, disrupting public transit and causing a major public scare. Based on this example, can we really trust brands with our public spaces? Next stop, somewhere you've all been, the UCC. Victoria's Secret Pink placed a promotional initiative by the main entrance and encouraged students to step up behind a cardboard cutout of a skinny white model. This was extremely upsetting to university students as the event was placed right outside the USC's Women in Leadership Conference. Despite this, a budget survey by the USC found that students were surprisingly okay with increasing commercialization on campus if it reduced students' fees, according to the VP of Finance for the USC. But maybe we should think about whether commercialization is a good idea. Do we really want to sell ourselves out?
So what does this all mean? Some of you will be managers of major brands in the future, so be mindful of how you engage with consumers in public spaces. Additionally, we're all consumers, and brands will withdraw from public spaces if we tell them to stop. So speak up and help protect the public spaces that we all share.